We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Welcome everybody to Geekvice episode 279, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph, that man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
We are back for another episode. How are you doing, Kip?
I am doing pretty well. Today was Whiskey Wednesday at work.
Oh, that's always nice.
Not during work, right after work, just in case anybody's listening. That is from my work. And not drunk, just a little feeling good.
That's not all bad. That is not all bad. Today was a busy day. Had parent-teacher conferences for my two kids, so that was fun listening to the teachers talk about how great my kids are. So, and then I have to ask them, are we talking about the same kids? But it's just the way it goes. That's what I keep telling my wife. It's like, that's what we hope for. If the kids are behaving at school and doing well at school, then we let them slide a little bit with being shitheads here at home. I will not kill them yet. Now, if they were really good at home and shitheads at school, they'd probably be dead. So, it's the way it goes, right? You want everybody to be better outside,
you
away
pick
from
your battles, right?
Yeah, away from your house. You want them to be good. So, one of Reese's teachers, who's in 5th grade, she made the comment that Reese always at the end, like when he leaves her class, he always turns around and thanks her for teaching him. And I'm like,
holy cow.
Damn, dude, way to work up the brownie points, man.
No kidding.
Way to win it, man. All right.
He's got middle management written all over him.
Yeah, right? Like, okay, you do this. You play this game way better than I do. Way to go, buddy. Way to go. But yeah, now I'm just I got the kids to bed hoping, and my wife took medicine and Reese took medicine. I'm hoping those two wake up feeling better than what they went to bed feeling. So
I hope so.
I know, we just got through a bunch of stuff, and then this front starts moving in, and all of a sudden stuff goes downhill. We don't need people getting sick anymore.
I am so done with winter. Holy cow.
Yeah. And
who do we complain to? I just don't know.
Well, and I'm even the guy that likes winter. Like this is my kind of year. I like this kind of stuff, but man, this up and down of the weather and everything, that's just brutal.
It does not work for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't handle. I don't mind a 50-degree day every once in a while, but I don't want it being 50 degrees one day, 9 degrees the next day, and then 50 degrees 2 days later. Like, that's like, we gotta like let's pick a range and let's stay there for a little while.
Yeah, it's gotta even out.
And then just be done with it,
Yeah, these wild swings.
Yeah.
I get it.
But, I have no control over it, so I guess that just is what it is.
It is. Yeah, this is true. I just, tomorrow we're supposed to wake up and I think the low is like, 0 or something like that tomorrow morning. And
yep.
I go to the gym at 5 a.m. I usually just wearing shorts as I walk up to the front door, so that should be fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be a little brutal. I'm just my kids don't have school because of parent-teacher conferences. They have the rest of this week off, which is odd, but I guess that's all right. We don't have to worry about them canceling school tomorrow, but it also means it's like I gotta figure out, okay, am I gonna be able to make it into work, or am I gonna be stuck here at the house? I don't know. Never know what's gonna happen around here. We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah. I got So this is, we were talking about this today at work, and it's like there are days at work where you're like, I just have to be there. Tomorrow is the day because it's game day.
Oh,
We play board games after work, and it's like I gotta show up for that.
you got to be there for that.
If it
Absolutely.
was just a regular work day, then,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, you gotta be there for that. Well, speaking of board games, so this last weekend we actually had a family game night with another family on our street that we found out we've been friends with them for a while, but we finally had some time. They like board games and we like board games, and so we brought a bunch of our board games up there, and I got a couple games of Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters in. I got another couple of games of Gizmos in, which I ended up winning by 2 points. Like, yeah.
nice.
So, and it was funny because so there was four adults playing, and I was explaining the rules, like, as you do. The game's not overly complicated. So I'm explaining the rules, and the look on her face was like, I don't understand a word you were saying. Like, I hear words, but I don't understand anything. So I'm like, okay. So, like, I help her with the first few turns. Like, okay, here's what you've got. Here's what's out here on the table. This is the direction I would recommend going. And she's like, oh, okay. And so I kind of get her going, and like I start looking at her board, and I'm like, oh dang, like like I'm setting her up to win. Like, she's gonna win this. She's like running away with it. She has such a good setup, and I'm like, man, and I'm telling her to take these cards that I really kind of want, but she's the turn right before me. I'm like, man, I'm really not doing this well. But I'm like, it's okay. It's her first time playing. I'll help her out. I'll get her the win. No big deal. And then, I'm like, okay. I get my board start going now. And I'm like, I'm looking at this going, well, she's still got this. So I'm just kind of playing. And then she gets, okay, gizmos. You play until the first person has 16 gizmos on their board, or they have 4 level 3 gizmos. Well, she hit 16. She buys like a real cheap one to get number 16 to start the end game. And so I get a turn after her, and then one other person does, and I'm like, well, you know what? I wasn't going to buy this card, but I buy a level 3 gizmo that's worth 5 points. And those 5 points put me 2 points ahead of her. I'm like, oh man, when we counted them up, and I won by that much, I'm like, oh dang, that was way like, I didn't realize I was actually in this game. I thought I was just playing for second place. Like, oh wow, that was cool. So just goes to show, I love that game. I love Gizmos. It's one of my tops. So one of my tops.
I have yet to play that one. Looking
Yeah,
forward to the first play.
yeah, we gotta resolve that and get you playing that one, because it's a lot of fun. Lots of fun. But yeah, you got a new board game over there, right?
Well, technically yes, but really it's an expansion. So one of the big games that gets played a lot on my Thursday night gaming is Viticulture, which is a game by Stonemeyer Games where you try to be the best owner of a vineyard.
Yeah.
It's a worker placement game. You make wine, you sell wine, you get victory points, yada yada. Um, I've been looking to buy a new board game for a little while, and one of the guys I play games with kept saying, "Oh, you need the Tuscany expansion for Viticulture." And I'm like, I just don't see it happening because I've had terrible luck with expansions. I don't know about anybody else, but every time I buy an expansion for a game, it never gets played.
Yeah.
It either adds too much complexity or makes the game too long, or it just doesn't make any sense, or it changes the gameplay too much. I've got, I'm going to say countless, but if it's just because I'm too lazy to count them, expansions that just sit there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't think I really wanted expansions. But he was insistent enough that I at least did some research, watched a few videos on what it does, and decided I'm going to buy it. And so I did get the Tuscany expansion for viticulture. And here's the reasons why. One, there's a new board. Gameplay is essentially the same if you use the new board, except for it adds a couple of things that kind of change the way. There's a wake-up track at the beginning of each year. Okay. And depending on who's first player, you go around and you place your chickens on this wake-up track, and you get certain bonuses, and that determines also play order. So the really good stuff is at the bottom of the track, so if you pick that, then you go last, that kind of thing. So they changed that to where it's you don't get bonuses right away, you get bonuses as you move in through the seasons. So viticulture, there's 4 seasons. There's spring, summer, fall, and winter. Spring is basically pick turn order, the wake-up track. Spring and fall is where you actually place your workers, and then winter is where you get paid for what you did. This one is the same, except for as you move to each part of the season, as you go from spring to summer, you get your bonus then. And then as you go from summer to fall, there's another bonus there. And it's a track that has the 4 components for each season, so you just move your chicken along the track to show where you are. The old game, we just flip the chicken on its side to show I'm done for the season, and then we go to the next season, we stand it back up. So this is kind of cool. We don't have to do any chicken tipping, I guess is the best way to put it. And then another component of it that I liked is there's these cards that are called visitor cards. They're yellow and blue backed cards. The yellow ones you pick up and play in the springtime or the summertime. And then the other visitor cards are blue back, and you play those in the fall. And luck of the draw on those cards they're wildly swingy. You could get something that is complete. You could end up drawing 3, and they could be 3 of the most useless to you cards in the world. Or you could draw 3 and they completely win the game for you.
Oh,
wow. So they took that into account, and they created the structure cards that kind of balance that out.
Oh.
So instead of adding more complexity to the game and things like that, they added some more organizational to it with the wake-up track. And then they balanced out something that was misbalanced. Misbalanced? Is that a word? I don't know.
Unbalanced.
So, and what I like about it, there's like 4 components to the expansion, and you can just choose which ones you're going to use and which ones you're not going to use. So if there's just a part of it that you don't want to use, you just don't do it. So the board is double-sided, so you could just play viticulture with just the new wake-up track and just be done, or you can flip it to the other side where you actually have the structure cards that you can play with, so you can add that to it. There's another component that is you earn these stars. I think they're called not influence. I always hate it when I forget a word. Too much whiskey. They are called dang it, I hate it when I do that. Influence. I did say influence, didn't I?
You did.
So they're influence, and then there's another piece of it. There's these special workers, which are meeples with actually like painted overalls on them that you flip over two cards, and these two workers can do special things. So they're not super overpowered, but they just add another thing you can do. I felt like this expansion was muted enough that it didn't screw up a game that we really like, and it just added to a game. So I noticed with viticulture, the same people were winning.
Yeah.
They figured out some sort of special mojo to get the victory points that they needed, and it's the same to it pretty much every time. So getting this expansion was enough of a change that leveled the playing field again.
Nice.
Which is nice. So finally, an expansion I can feel good about spending my money on. They're few and far between. It was only $30, so I don't feel horrible about it. Even if we didn't get to play it that much, but it's added enough to the game that every time we play viticulture, it's just going to be part of it. So finally,
Cool.
$30 well spent on an expansion, and I highly recommend if you like viticulture, getting the Tuscany expansion. You will not regret it.
Right on. I was
Yeah.
looking at some of the pictures, and they actually have like a wooden. I think this was a Kickstarter, but they have like a wooden case that holds both the viticulture and the Tuscany expansion all together. It's like it looks like a really nice engraved wood case. Like that's kind of cool.
Is it like from Broken Token or something?
It's possible. I don't know. It's hard to tell. This was just on pictures on Board
Yeah,
Game
this one
Geek.
didn't come with that. I mean, it's even a smaller box.
Oh yeah.
So, but I can't put it all in the same box, I don't think.
Yeah, you
But
probably
that's
have to have
fine.
both. And that's always one of the problems that I have with some of the expansions. Like I've got some expansions to a couple of the games that I have, and the expansions get set somewhere else, and so then they don't get brought to the table as much, and so
Yeah, it's um, I bought I like Pandemic,
mm-hmm.
and I bought the expansion for that. The printing before this newest printing, so I can't remember what it's called, doesn't matter. The only thing I used out of it was the petri dishes that came with it
Right,
to
yeah.
put the cubes.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really use it for the expansion. Other than that, I could have just bought petri dishes. So to me, that expansion was a waste of money. My all-time favorite game, Battlestar Galactica, has a bunch of expansions. I bought one, never used it. Uh, all I used out of it was they had plastic miniatures for the Cylon base stars instead of the cardboard. Swapped them out. That's all I've used that expansion for. So I paid $30 for two plastic minis. Yeah, and then the list just goes on of expansions that just weren't worth the money for me.
Yeah.
And so, man, you have no idea how happy it makes me that I can actually say, hey, I bought an expansion and I like it, and we're
Yeah.
actually going to play it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that is good to hear. So yeah, it's board gaming's fun. There, we're gonna try to get to the table a lot more often this year. Get together and have some actual adult board gaming as well as the kids. The kids can kind of go play a game themselves now, and so we can have people over, and the kids can be at one table playing, and the adults can be at another playing, and I'm looking forward to that. So
Yeah.
I've even convinced the other family that might need to find a way to bring down Battlestar Galactica. So if you get a phone call saying, "Hey, you should come bring that game and come play," I don't think you'd say no, would you?
No, I will take any opportunity to play that game. So
Yeah.
you know me well.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. because it's right up there. The other guy that I was playing with, Bo, he likes the type of games where you can screw over people, um, and and kind of like wreak havoc while he's playing. And I'm like, oh, Battlestar Galactica might be a lot of fun for you.
Especially if you end up being the Cylon.
Right? Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
So
yeah, I get it.
that could be.
Plus, even if you're not the Cylon, getting to try to figure out who is and being accusatory and all that other stuff
Oh yeah.
is just fun in itself.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I think he'd have a blast playing that one. So might have to make that one happen too. But
Yep.
yeah.
And did you get my message today?
I did. But I have not looked at the link yet. When is that? Can'tCon is what that was about.
Yeah, it's around the weekend of July 19th.
There it is. Let's see. July 19th. I gotta make. I should be in town July 19th. We might have to do that.
Yeah,
So,
because I've got
Can'tCon.
some of the people from my Thursday night group are going to be there.
Oh, nice.
And cons are a lot more fun if you have a group of people you can game with and stuff like that. So,
Right.
yeah, if you could join us, that'd be great.
Cool. The Can'tCon, for anyone that's going to be around the Kansas City area, it'll be in Overland Park, Kansas, July 17th through the 19th. It's a tabletop gaming convention. So, and they've got
Absolutely.
early bird prices right now. So,
Yeah, 3-day pass is $35.
that's
So it's cheap.
sounds like a deal. Very cool. I'll have to see if I can make that one work.
Bring your friends, we'll play Battlestar.
There you go. I like that. I like that idea. I am a fan of Battlestar Galactica. That is a fun game to play. I've played it a couple times. One of those times, though, we were missing some cards, and it made it a little more difficult.
I'll never live that down.
No, you won't. No, you won't. Oh.
But what's so great about it is even today, one of the guys asked me, he's like, "How many people are coming tomorrow night?" It's like, "Oh, I don't know. It looks like there's only going to be like 4 or 5 of us." He's like, "So we could play Battlestar Galactica?" It's like, "Hell yeah, we could. Let's do that."
There you go. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, that's it for board games, but we do have some other games going here. I'd like to spend some time talking about Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and really just Witcher in general. So, we've already talked about the Netflix series, and that's a huge hit. And apparently, there's been a huge spike in Witcher 3 video game sales. Also, there's been a spike in the sale of the novels, purchasing of the audiobooks and whatnots, and pretty much I'm falling right in line with all of those other people. I already had the video game and had been playing Witcher 3. I tried to play Witcher 2. That one did not work out so well for me. I did not like the controls of that one, so I kind of never really ended up making it out of the tutorial area. But Witcher 3, things are fine tuned, they're cleaned up. I really like the gameplay on it. So I've been playing that for a while. Well, I just finally got through 100 hours of playing that game, and I finally finished the main storyline for Witcher 3, and now I'm starting the first of 2 expansions. And you know, Kip has finally decided to jump on this bandwagon as well and has started playing
Indeed.
this. So how far are you into it?
No judgment here. I'm. You remember at the very beginning, you go to a fort
Yep.
and you talk to a guy, and then he says, "Oh, go find these guys. They went after something," and then you're On the way, you run across a guy sitting in the ditch, and his cart ran off. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I just finished that.
That's not bad. That's not bad. You're not very far in, but that's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay. That you're still in. Here's the best part of that. The part that you are in is like that's like the tutorial ground that you're in right now.
yeah, I'm still in the tutorial phase. Yes.
And that is honestly, if you stop and look at the map that you have to work with, that's the tutorial, which is already a really big map. So when you get into the real world, when you get a little farther into the game, the map just opens up even more, and that's one of the things that Witcher 3, and I'm sure the other games are like this. I haven't played them, but Witcher 3 has that feeling of a giant open world. The only other game that feels as large as this is like Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Gigantic map, lots of different areas you can go to. Fast travel is your friend because otherwise it's going to be even more hours of playing the game. But I just love the way that the openness of it and the feel of all of it.
Oh,
The
oh, absolutely. I do like the open world feel to it. I was a big fan of Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a little bit like
Oh
that.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, I could have just bypassed this side quest if I wanted to,
Yep.
but it's like, you know what? I need the experience points. Maybe I'll earn some coin or two.
Yep.
So I went for it. Sadly, again, no judging. I had to go on YouTube and figure out where the other black box was because I couldn't find it.
um so that becomes a problem. Your Witcher sense is going to be a big help in those. It makes things glow a little bit more. So you'll get used to that and being able to find stuff using that. You get used to looking for it because I remember having that same kind of problem early on. Like, man, I'm looking for this. Where is it? Where is it? And eventually, you get to that point where it's just like, oh, now it all just sticks out, and
Yeah.
your
Well, what I
eyes.
managed to do was disturb a couple of beehives and got stung a bunch.
Yep.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I got too far into it, and a couple of those, whatever those monsters are called, a bunch of them ganged up on me and killed me. Uh,
Were they the one? Were they drowners?
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
The like fish looking people.
Fish looking guys. Yep.
Yep. Yep.
It was just ridiculous. So then I got too afraid to even do too much searching because everything I did caused me pain. So I just had to go to YouTube. And then
Yeah.
I realized I was that close.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
go behind the next tree. I would have been fine, but no, I was too afraid.
Yeah, it's I know exactly where you're at. I remember that mission. It's and so that's the other thing that I wanted to mention. The missions, they don't feel repetitive. There are some that are similar, but there's so many side quests and main missions and this mission and that mission, and the story is so engaging and deep that you don't feel like anything's repetitive. Like sometimes playing games, like I ran into this problem with Assassin's Creed. um, you get into these big open world games. uh, Hell, even Grand Theft Auto had this problem where you'd like, oh well, hey, go do this mission, and then you do this mission, and then like half an hour later you're like, go do this mission, and the two missions you're like, oh, the only difference is like this one little skin over something. It's like, oh, this looks a little different, but it's pretty much exactly the same thing. This The way they do the missions in Witcher 3, i I never caught myself going, oh, this feels just like that one. And it could be because I would go and do different areas and I'd be completely different things. Now the monster hunts and the Witcher contracts, they can feel repetitive. but they're not important. You don't have to do those. So and honestly, that's what the Witcher's supposed to do. It's go kill monsters. Like that's what a Witcher is a monster killer. That's got to feel a little repetitive. Kind of makes it feel like real life a little bit.
Well, yeah, you're earning coins, so what do we do in real life to earn coin? The same thing over and over again? Yeah,
Yep.
so I
Yep.
get it.
Yeah. The other thing that little note for you: keep in mind of what you say to who and how you interact with people.
Okay.
This is probably the first game that I have played that lots of games have pitched this. This is the first game where I actually felt the story change based off of what I did in one area or another.
Okay.
It is awesome. It is really cool because there are areas where, like, hey, you're in this area and you do something, and then maybe it makes some people angry, and then you go back there, and the way the NPCs like interact with you seems different, and maybe it's unavoidable in some areas. I'm sure it is, but some of the times there are choices that actually impact the game, and you really don't know what impact it's going to have. One example is, and I don't remember which mission it is, but there's a mission where somebody you catch somebody doing something, being, like a bandit, or, being a no good person. And you have a choice. The guy pleads with you to have mercy and let him live, and, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm not going to do anything wrong. And you have a choice of letting him go or, not. And by not, I mean like cutting off his head. So you have this option. And after I beat the game, I kind of started going and looking up some of these things. If I killed him, because, well, actually, I didn't kill him. I first said I was going to let him go, and then I didn't like the fact I had a change of heart, and then I killed him right away. But I found out that if he leaves this little area, if you let him leave, then there's another mission that comes up later on that's him, where he's raped and pillaged in this village. It's like, oh, that's deep. But because I killed him and he never left, then that never happened.
Interesting.
So there's times like that in this game where you can, sometimes the decision doesn't impact you directly, but it impacts the game as a whole, and it affects how other characters' storylines. And that's the other thing. These characters, the NPCs that you run across, they each have a backstory. They each have a story within the game itself. And you can learn and involve yourself in as much or as little as that as you want. You can read more stuff on them. Each character gets a bio in the menu, kind of in your like in your inventory. You have a bestiary that talks about all the beasts, and then you have a character bio on all the different NPCs in the game. And that continually gets updated as you run across these same NPCs in different situations, and sometimes you help them, sometimes you don't, and depending on what you do affects their story and what else goes on in their life. I was like, and it was really, I thought that was a really, really cool element to this game that you just don't see very often.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, hopefully I haven't screwed myself up on anything so far, but
Oh no, you're early enough. You're fine. And that's the other thing. so I have a friend of mine who played through this game, and he's the one that kind of convinced me to buy this game. When he bought this game back when it came out, he bought it with the strategy guide, and so he's like, I played this whole game using the strategy guide. No, like every decision he made, he looked up in the strategy guide to see what the best option was, or this or that, or make sure that he did things the way the best strategy would be. And I went, and he's like, it was fun. He's like, he enjoyed it, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to not look at anything. So this was the first game where I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no, like, I played this game as if this was me, what decision would I make? And surprisingly, I ended up with actually a little better result in the end game than my friend who used the strategy guide for the best possible solutions. So I had more people that ended up on the good, possibly. So it was really interesting. It's really fun to watch how it all unfolds, the way the characters develop, and it doesn't feel. Sometimes, if you've ever played the Mass Effect games, that was one where the decisions were supposed to impact the story, but it kind of felt cardboard. It felt like every character other than yourself was stiff and unchanging.
Yeah.
This does not feel that way. There are times where you're like, okay, this guy, he seems sleazy. And then you interact with him later and it's like, oh no, he's pretty much trying to blackmail you into doing what he wants you to do. He's sleazy, But at first you're like, maybe you could help me out with some things. Okay, I'll help him out. And then you're like, oh no, I need to stop working with this guy. This is just downright wrong. It's great watching the characters change, the NPCs change, as well as your own character. I know this game came out a long time ago, many years ago, but this has moved into one of my tops and one of my favorites. So, it's a game that I've put every other game that I was playing off and have just been playing this one, and for 100 hours. So, and I'm still not done. So that's.
Well, I look forward to a deep dive into this game. So we'll see what decisions I make. I tend to play a game like you do. What would I have done?
Yeah.
It's almost like I don't want to piss anybody off, so I'm going to do what I feel is the right thing. Yeah, yep. Maybe that's not the right thing for the game, but at least I felt better good about it.
Yeah, I feel better after that. So, yeah. So playing Witcher 3, still playing that, enjoying that, and also I decided to jump into the audiobooks and the novels. If you've watched the Netflix series, you probably know that it jumps around timelines a lot. Well, part of the reason for that is the first 2 books in the Witcher series are a bunch of short stories. And those fit the timeline of the Netflix series. So I was like, you know what? Since I've already kind of seen those, I don't want to reread the books on those. We'll just kind of start from where those left off, which is the first book, the first novel, and it's called The Blood of Elves. And so I got the audiobook for it, and I've been listening to it at work, and really enjoyed it. I gotta say that the voice actor that does the audiobook is incredible. The different voices and inflections and the different what's it called? Like, not languages, but accents. That's the word I was looking for. Accents. Words are hard.
I was wondering where you were going with this.
The different accents he has for the different races and things like that make it really fun to listen to. And it's I finished Blood of Elves, and then the second book was Oh, I think it's Baptism of Fire. Yes, Baptism of Fire. Um, the I got through that one. I just finished that one today, and um, oh no, Time of Contempt is the second one. Baptism of Fire is the one that I just started, which is the third one. Time of Contempt. There's a point in that book where there's an argument between three or four different races of people, both differing between some male, some female, and I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. It's not different voice actors reading this. It is the same guy, and it is incredible. I know the way they do audiobooks and stuff like that they record different pieces of it and put it all together, but just how well that scene fits, like, and as well as the actor, the reader does that, like that was awesome. It was really cool. Made me stop working and just stop and like listen to it for a minute, going, "Oh wow, like that's impressive. That's really impressive."
Oh yeah, the guy is super talented. Yeah, I cannot deny that.
Yeah, and I know you started the audiobooks, but decided they weren't for you.
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but even though I love sci-fi fantasy movies, board games, stuff like that, for some reason I can't get into the books.
That's all right.
I never really could, which is strange because I love that stuff, but I could never get into it.
I will say that the hardest part for me with it is trying to keep everybody straight. But I think what you might try after if you enjoy the video game and make it through the video game farther, you might try picking them back up because the characters that are in the video game, those names keep getting thrown out in the books. Well, they were in the books first, but once you get an idea of who the characters are, it's almost like, oh, okay, and I think that kind of helped me out a little bit with being able to digest what was going on, especially listening to it in an audiobook form because you don't have the names. If you're actually reading the book, you see the names and visually you see that name and you can associate it with different things. When you're hearing it, it's a little different. It's harder to keep. Plus, I'm listening to it in the background while I work, so I'm sure I zone out at certain times and don't pay as much
Well,
close attention. But
I also want to know who made the decision that if you're doing any kind of fantasy book or alien race, the names have to be practically unpronounceable. Who made that decision?
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
I'm reading a book and it comes across one of those names. I just come up with something that kind of looks like it. Yep. That's easy to pronounce. That's not the name.
Yep.
It's like, why did you do this?
Yep.
Granted, it's not going to be Alien Steve, but you could come up with something.
Right. Well,
that isn't 6 consonants in a row with an apostrophe, and then it's like, come on, seriously.
Yep.
And it's like the Witcher book. The guy's name is Dandelion.
Yep.
It's Dandelion. You look at it in print, it's Dandelion. You listen to it in a book, it's Dandelion.
Yep. I think that's a British thing. I don't know.
It probably is. I don't know. All I know is it throws you off.
Yes.
And maybe that's why I have a hard time. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's because I can't keep anybody straight. I don't know. But after a while, you're like, okay, this person's name is now Dan.
Yeah.
I can keep track of that.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you there because, I love Tom Clancy books, but Hunt for Red October I have never been able to actually finish, no matter how hard I try, because the Russian names just become a point where they're just a blur on the page, and I can't keep them straight. So, Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
completely
get it.
get it.
Witcher 3 isn't so bad. I mean, there's Yennefer,
Right.
there's Geralt.
Yep.
Those are
Siri.
fantasy names that are easy to pronounce.
Yep.
Love that. But and then there's a few other you're in there like, nah, not even gonna.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, and
Thanks
that's
for playing.
and it's hard too because when you hear them pronounced, when you hear them in whether it's the video game, well, the video game's a little bit easier because you can take a picture with them, but if you're listening to it in the audiobook, it becomes a little difficult too because it's like, oh, they'll because not only they'll have that name and then somebody else will call them something else, and you're like, wait, is that the same person? I think it is, and it's hard. I almost feel like I need to have like a character map in front of me that's just like, oh yeah, this is also this name, and this person hates this person and likes this person, and this person doesn't like this person. It's like you almost need that character map in front of you while you're listening to it. There's so many things going on, but that's also what makes it a great video game.
Yeah.
That's what makes it a great story. So lots of different
Yeah.
pieces and
Well,
moving
D&D
parts.
is the same way. Our D&D group, you come across these names and you're like,
Yep.
no,
Yeah.
whatever. And then, it's like our DM will say, okay, he'll throw out a name and we're like, okay. And he's like, you don't remember that name? He's like, how the hell would I remember that name?
Well, you should. Yeah. No, I completely agree with that one. So,
Yeah. Sorry, I keep pounding on that. It's just a pet peeve. It's like, stop it.
oh, I get it. I completely get
I
it.
get it. You want it to sound different and all this other stuff, but you don't have to make it impossible.
Right. Yeah. Completely agree. So there you go, everybody. We're going Witcher. We're going Witcher, 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 Witcher.
Hardcore Witcher.
So something else out there. Did you know the Witcher novels? There's actually 5 novels.
Did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until today when I was getting into my 3rd audiobook, and I'm like, oh man, I'm almost done with it. I thought there was only 3 books. And then I started looking and I was like, oh, there's 5 books. I got 2 more after this one. All right. So, I hope that means I hope that means a lot for a lot more series of it in the Netflix, or a lot more seasons in the Netflix series. I hope that means that there's some more video games coming this way. I'm also curious to see if at some point Witcher 3 video game has a book, or if it's kind of gone off on its own. I'm curious. So, I don't know. We'll find out. I haven't gotten anything yet, so I'm
Guess we'll
enjoying
find
it.
out.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. So I'm a Witcher fanatic. You can count me in. I have a feeling I will end up buying these books as well, and so I can just have them in my collection. So, big fan, and thanks to I'd say thanks to the video game because that's what really got it started, but the Netflix series really kind of spurred it on too. So, I'm glad that there's more of it out there, and I can't wait for more to come. So, there you go.
Yeah, I think this is one of the true testaments to finally putting something on the screen. Like you said, the game sales have been boosted, the
Yep.
novel sales have been boosted, so a well done series can do wonders for an author and video game people. So yeah, I I'm all in as far as the Witcher 3 video game goes and the Witcher uh, Netflix series. Maybe I'll give the books another try. You seem to be all in, so I may have to give it another try, but we'll
Well,
see.
give yourself some time. Get more into the whole thing, and then see. see where it goes, because the game is going to take up a lot of your time. I will just tell you that right now. Especially, like, I mean, you probably play in bigger chunks than I do, but 100 hours is 100 hours, so that's a lot of hours.
Yeah, it's a lot of hours. But I've got a lot of games where I've got a ton of hours in them, so.
So there you go. There you go. Witcher 3 has hit the third most played game on my computer. So
There you go.
At 100 hours. So it's way far away from like the top two, but it'll get up there. It'll get there. All right, you got anything else you want to throw out there this week?
Oh man, other than being super tired. So I went back on our YouTube channel and I looked at all the thumbnails.
Yeah.
So I'm a person who does not like to have pictures taken of him. In fact, I freaking hate it.
I think a lot of the thumbnails are pictures of you.
I know. So I started my weight loss journey and I didn't take a before picture.
Yeah.
So I was kind of curious. So I was looking back at the thumbnails and I can actually see a difference in my face.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm down
cool.
33, which in the grand schemes of how much I have to actually lose, it's not a lot, but 33 is a lot.
Yeah.
And I can see it in my face, which made me pretty damn happy. So that's pretty cool.
Good.
It still beat the hell out of taking a before picture. So
there you go. There you go. There's one thing for those. Yeah, with the YouTube channel, I started using, like, trying to make thumbnails for them, and then I just got to the point where it's like, you know what, that's a lot of work, and I don't have that much time. So I want to put that much work.
When I was doing it, I did I at least put our logo as the thumbnail, and then like you, after a while, you're like, forget it.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Hey, see me with my thumbs up. See, watch this. This will not end up as the thumbnail.
Yeah, it'll wait till your eyes are half closed or your mouth is open or something, and it's like, here you go.
Yeah. Yep.
We found the worst possible picture of you.
The YouTube does a really good job with that. So
yeah,
I
think it's an algorithm or something they developed.
Probably. Facial recognition for the ugliest face.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, how can we make this guy look worse? Here it is. Save.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta like that.
So there was one good thing that came out of the thumbnails.
Well, I hope that the weight loss thing is working for you. It seems to be. 33 pounds is a big deal. So
yeah, it is. It is a big deal. So I'll keep doing it. I'm actually considering starting a YouTube channel talking about it, saying what I've gone through and that kind of thing. So if I ever get ambitious enough, I'll do it. I know I'm already 33 pounds into it, but what the hell?
But still, you can just, even if it's just talking about what you went through, what you've been through, what you're going through, it can be, that might be cathartic too. Might help you stay on the wagon, as they say.
Yeah, hold me accountable. That'd be good. Yeah.
All right.
I one thing I am going to mention is we joined Planet Fitness, and I don't like. I'll just put it out there. I don't like being around people that I don't know. And I figured, well, you know what? I'll go before work. So I'll get up at 5 a.m. and I'll go. There'll be nobody there. Wrong.
Yeah, who would be there at 5 o'clock in the morning?
It's packed.
Everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. And the worst part about it is you figure the people who get up at 5 a.m. are not the New Year's resolutions people.
Yeah.
They're not the people who are going to just disappear in March. They're just the people that go at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. Those are the diehards.
So I got to I have to get out of my comfort zone every morning and go hang out with a bunch of people I don't know and get a sweat on. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really outside my comfort zone just to put it out there. So it's a big deal. And the
Yeah.
fact that there's all these people there, man, could they make it any more difficult for me? I mean, it's good for Planet Fitness, you know, it's membership,
Yeah.
but yeah, the first time I showed up at 5 in the morning, and it's like, why is there so many cars in the parking lot? What the hell? And then I realized some of these people have been there a while, and it's like, I woke up at 5, brushed my teeth, got dressed, got my bottle of water filled, and I went to the gym, which is 5 minutes away. So it's like 5:15. And there's people wrapping up their workouts.
Yep.
It's like they got there at 4:30, 4 o'clock. I thought getting up at 5 was ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I don't get up at 5. I tried to do the whole working out thing, but that was the problem I ran into was when the hell am I going to work out? Because I sure as hell am not getting up at 5 o'clock to work out. And they're like, oh, well, I could just do it in the evenings. Well, yeah, but if I do it in the evenings, then when the hell am I going to play video games?
Yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
yeah, this isn't going to work, guys. Like, we're going to need to find some time during the day. I just need to quit my job. Then I can work out, you know? That's how
Yeah, I was
Brad
talking
Pitt
to a guy
stays
at
fit.
work. He goes, "Well, if you want to go when it's hardly anybody there, you got to go like at 10 o'clock in the morning." It's like, yeah, but I'm at work. I
There's
don't
this
think my
thing called
boss
a
is going to go, "Oh
job.
yeah, go work out at the gym." Yeah, no.
Yeah,
So 5 o'clock in the morning it is. It's still less busy than it is at 5 o'clock in the evening. So
true.
it is what it is. It's just part of what you have to go through. That if all this was easy, everybody would be in shape and skinny and all this other stuff. But it's
That's right.
hard, and I'll be the first to admit it. This has not been easy. In fact, it's really fucking hard. But hey, it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah. And if it ends up being good for you in the end, then it's gonna be good. So,
Truth.
all right.
Stay tuned. Maybe I'll put some YouTube videos together.
I hope you do. I hope you do. It's I think it'd be good. I know there'll be people that will want to watch it. So follow along with you, life's journey.
Yep.
It'd be good. All right, everybody. You know the drill. Go check out the blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. Go follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/geekvice. You can go hit us up on Twitter. You can follow that man over there at Kip Killigan. Over there. You can follow me at Geekvice. Go hit up the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Anything you do there helps us out. Lets us know that people pay attention to what we're doing. And of course, as always, you can reach us by email at geekvice@gmail.com. Thanks everyone for listening to our ramblings, and we will see you next week.
Later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.
All right.